We will now call the special meeting of the Waco City Council on August 31st, 2021 to order at 6 p.m. Please join me for a moment of silence. Thank you. It doesn't look like there's anyone here for the public hearing. Esmeralda, did we get any cards? We got any. Great. Then we're going to skip over that unless there's anyone here for the public hearing. All right, we'll skip over that. And now please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, our first order of business tonight is public hearing 2021-560. And I believe Amy is going to be giving a presentation on this tonight.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and City Manager. This is a public hearing on a resolution, 1, revising the schedule of drainage charges for the municipal drainage utility system in the City of Waco to include certain fee credits and to clarify that the calculated number of equivalent residential units for non-single family residential properties will be rounded to the nearest whole integer other than 0 to determine the monthly fee, so as to be consistent with Section 26-365 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Waco, Texas, and 2, amending the fiscal year 2020-21 operating budget fee schedule for the Drainage Utility Fund to include the revised schedule of drainage charges for the municipal drainage utility system in the City of Waco.
Hey, Amy, are there any questions for staff on this item? If not, we will open up a public hearing for comment. Is there anyone here to speak on this item? If not, we'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
Motion for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes.
Aye.
Palmer. Aye. Porterud.
Yes.
Fairfield.
Yes.
Sabido.
Yes.
Meek.
Yes, that motion carries, and we'll move to public hearing 2021-561. And I believe our city manager, Bradley Ford, is going to give an introduction on this one.
Thanks, Mayor. We'll have Nick Sarpy, our Director of Office of Management and Budget, join us at the table in a moment to guide the public hearing. I did want to provide a brief intro. As you mentioned, though, the fiscal year 22 budget was certainly developed in alignment with your strategic goals, and the budget continues to provide funding for a safe and resilient city by funding 12 police officers, 3 new firefighter positions, and a second set of turnout gear for firefighters. It's also moving the needle on facilitating economic development with an enhanced investment in WEDMEC, the Economic Development Corporation here in Waco, McLennan County, an additional of an economic development coordinator, and furthering our commitment to equity and inclusion by ensuring all employees for the City of Waco are paid at least $15 per hour, which is a big move. And finally, to the council's credit and the staff's credit, you know, we're gonna have a very large investment in our infrastructure, approximately $50 million in governmental operational improvements for streets, parks, and public safety facilities. I'm pleased to note this is being done while we're holding utility rates flat and also lowering the tax rate by 0.9 cents and enhancing services to all the residents of Waco. Each year, the budget process represents one of the council's most significant actions, also one of the largest pieces of work that the city staff undertakes. And so I want to express my appreciation for the council, but also for the many people in leadership at City Hall and all the city departments that put this together. It's a huge volume of work, and at this time I'll turn it over to Nick Sarpy for the public hearing.
Hey, Nick.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This public hearing is to receive comments on a resolution to adopt and approve the City of Waco Operating Budget Capital Improvements Program for fiscal year 21-22. In accordance with Texas statutes and the City of Waco Charter, the fiscal year 22 budget was developed to address the council's strategic goals. As Bradley mentioned, the budget features the addition of over 40 new full-time FTEs, including 12 police officers as part of the COPS grant application and 3 new firefighters. The proposed tax rate is slightly under 76.75 cents per $100 of assessed valuation, a reduction of roughly 0.9 of a cent compared to the fiscal year 2021 budget, and a rate below the voter approval tax rate. A public hearing and vote on said proposed tax rate will take place on Tuesday, September 7th, 2021 at 6 p.m. That public hearing will be open to the public at Bosque Theater of the Waco Convention Center, 100 Washington Avenue, Waco, Texas. A limited number of council members may appear via video conference. This budget seeks to build a high-performing government that promotes a culture of equity and inclusion, enhances the quality of life of our residents. Through the proposed new initiatives and staffing, this budget provides the foundation to improve city infrastructure and facilitate economic development. Through the budget development process, staff sought to find ways to support sustainability and all in an effort to make Waco a safe and resilient city. After today's public hearing on the budget, the council will consider action to approve the operating budget and capital improvements program for fiscal year 21-22, including the fee schedules, financial policies, glossary of terms and acronyms, and the certified tax rate worksheet. To comply with Chapter 171 of Texas Local Government Code regarding conflicts of interest and to avoid any appearance of impropriety, one budget item needs to be acted separately. A separate vote must be taken to approve the funding for the Baylor University-related items, as Councilmembers Palmer and Boderu each have filed a disqualification form with the City Secretary. This item is found on page 157 of the proposed budget that says Baylor Campus Town under the general fund contracts with others expenditures. The council will then consider action to approve the remainder of the operating budget and capital improvements program for fiscal year 21-22, including the fee schedules, the financial policies, glossary and acronyms, and certified tax rate worksheet. Then the council will consider authorizing the city manager to expend funds included in the remainder of the operating budget without further council action, which includes employee salaries and benefits, temporary employment services and recruitment services, regulatory permit fees, utility services for city facilities and operations, approved refund contracts, bank fees, debt service, bond payments, investment fees, and collection fees, various services upgrades, rental fees, lease and installment payments, and supplies for city computers, copiers, and telephones. Vendor expenditures up to a budget amount for various carts and dumpsters replaced by the solid waste department in a single fiscal year, even in the case of a single vendor who earns more than $50,000 in a single fiscal year, as long as said vendor has cooperatively or competitively bid the said items, and the total amount in the budget for carts and dumpsters is not exceeded. City cell phones and wireless devices based on DIR contracts, mowing services on privately owned lots and city-owned lots, operation and management of the Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness Center by Allen Samuel Sports, Inc., legal services to be performed in connection with water permitting, watershed protection, and water supply matters, services provided by McLennan County Appraisal District and McLennan County Tax Office, existing service contracts with Cameron Park Zoological and Botanical Society and RATP Development USA, Inc., authorized business grants, professional auditing, financial consulting services, and operation and management of the Rosemont Cemetery by Waco Rosemont Cemetery Association, and fees and taxes collected for the state. When the budget requires raising more revenue from property taxes than in the previous year, Texas law requires a separate record vote to ratify the property tax increase reflected in the operating budget and CIP plan. Since this budget does raise more revenue from property taxes than last year, a separate vote is required. The council will now conduct a public hearing on the proposed City of Waco operating budget and the capital improvements program for fiscal year 21-22.
Are there any questions for staff? Thank you, Nick. Any questions? Great. All right, we will then open a public hearing for comments on the budget of the City of Waco fiscal year 2021 and 2022. Is there anyone who would like to speak on this item? If not, then we will close the public hearing. There are 4 separate votes that are required if council votes on this budget. So we will take the first vote, which is public hearing 2021-561. Council members Boderu and Palmer have filed affidavits of substantial interest on this first vote. So I'll entertain a motion on the portion of the 2021-2022 budget and capital improvements program to provide for the city's agreement regarding Baylor Campus Town. Is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes,
Aye.
Fairfield,
Yes.
Sabido,
Yes.
Meek,
Yes, that motion carries, and we'll move to public hearing 2021-561, which is, I'll entertain a motion to approve the remainder of the 2021-2022 Budget and Capital Improvements Program, including fee schedules, financial statements, glossary of terms, acronyms, and certified tax worksheet. Is there a motion?
Motion for approval.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor, just briefly, I wanted to applaud our city manager and city staff for their hard work on the operating budget and the capital improvements plan, lowering the tax rate for the first time in 8 years, and prioritizing economic development, infrastructure, public safety, and our quality city services. I'm grateful for the good work here to incorporate our council's priorities into this budget while exercising good fiscal stewardship of taxpayer dollars. Finally, just as a personal note, as a newcomer on this council, I want to thank my fellow council members for their help, as well as staff, in navigating this budget process for the first time. So thank you all.
I will also say thank you to city staff for listening really to the importance and the desire of council to meet our goals that we have for our city when it comes to equity, when it comes to more money for economic development, when it comes to more public safety, more money in infrastructure that I've remembered that we've had in probably decades, and still able to manage, lower the tax rate and hold our rates with water, et cetera, and not increase. It takes some creative planning and budgeting, and it is not to go to say lightly that our staff has worked diligently and effectively and efficiently to make this happen. And so I just want to show my appreciation to not only our city manager's office, but our office of budgeting as well for making it happen. I hope that the taxpayers see the relief that we're trying to do and still take hold to what is important to them and meet the demands that any quality city should provide for our constituency and for our citizens. And so for that, I am very grateful. And because of that, this budget has my full support.
Any other discussion? I'll just echo what's been said. I think the budget process is one that entails much hard work of staff and council, and in some ways the public. This is the public's budget, and this is and the public owns this process. And I think that there's improvement that we can continue to gain on pulling our public into this process. But I believe that the goals set forth in this budget do reflect the goals of our city. And I think that the product, the budget as a finished product represents consensus, compromise, hard work, and listening to this council, listening to our community. And I think that it is exciting for me to see where our city is going, given what is reflected in this budget. I think it's important to note that there will be continued discussions for the remainder of 2021 on another set of dollars that we'll be getting, which is the ARP funding, and I look forward to engaging in those discussions. I'm really thankful for this council. I'm really thankful for the men and women I get to sit with up here. We have ambitious agendas, an ambitious agenda collectively to really bring good to the city and to really make Waco the best city that it can be. And I'm really thankful that we've been able to present something that I believe is going to be an aggressive step towards making Waco a better city. And I know that we're going to continue to see great work in the days ahead. So thank you to our city staff, and thank you to each of my council members, and thank you to the public for helping us shape and craft this budget. Any further discussion? Great. Please poll the council.
Holmes.
Aye.
Palmer.
Aye.
Porterud.
Yes.
Fairfield.
Yes.
Sabido.
Yes.
Meek.
Yes. That motion carries, and we'll move on to public hearing 2021-561. I will entertain a motion to authorize the city manager to expend budgeted funds for employee salaries and benefits, temporary employment and recruitment services, regulatory permit fees, utility services for city facilities and operations, approved refund contracts, bank fees, debt service, bond payments, investment fees and collection fees, various services, upgrades, rental fees, lease and installment payments, and supplies for city computers, copiers, and telephones. Cooperatively or competitively bid city solid waste carts and dumpsters, city cell phones and wireless devices based on DIR contracts, mowing services on privately owned lots and city-owned lots, operation and management of the Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness Center by Allen Samuel Sports, Inc., legal services to be performed in connection with water permitting, watershed protection, and water supply matters, services provided by McLennan County Appraisal District and McLennan County Tax Office, existing service contracts with Cameron Park Zoological and Botanical Society, and RATP Dev USA, Inc., and authorized business grants, professional, auditing, financial consulting services, and operation and management of Rosemount Cemetery by Waco Rosemount Cemetery Association, and fees and taxes collected for the state. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes. Palmer. Porteroot.
Yes.
Fairfield.
Yes.
Sabido. Meek.
Yes, that motion carries. And finally, I will entertain a motion to ratify the property tax increase reflected on the operating budget and capital improvements program for the City of Waco fiscal year 2021-22. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Holmes.
Aye.
Palmer.
Aye.
Porteroot.
Yes.
Fairfield.
Yes.
Sabido. Meek.
Yes. That motion carries, and there being no further business, we will adjourn the meeting at 6:17. Although we're adjourned, I want to note that my wife and kids made an appearance tonight. Thank you, Mabry and Davis, for coming.
Come on up.